Thanks. Terms like low-fat, gluten-free, cage-free, and multigrain are on packages all over your grocery store. Sounds pretty healthy.
Well, it's not necessarily the case. Here to help us understand the common food labeling is Lynya Floyd. He's the health director for Family Circle magazine, and dietitian Bonnie Taub-Dix, the author of Read It Before You Eat It. Ladies, good morning.
Ladies.
Hey.
Okay, so let's get right to this, because the labels really are kind of what draws you in to begin with, starting with the color green.
Exactly. So green, we all think of this positive connotation. Green is good, green means go, green makes us think of nature. But it's not necessarily correlated to what's inside the package. There was actually a study out of Cornell University where they showed people identical candy bars, but the nutrition labels were different colors. And people thought that the green nutrition label was better than the other colors. So just that color makes people think that a product is healthier than it actually might be. So the bottom line is, be colorblind. Think about what's inside the package, not what's outside. It's what's inside that matters.
Read the label. There you go. Okay, that's a good lesson. That's a good concept. Okay, let's move to low fat, because this can be very deceptive. Not always low fat, even if it says so.
Right. So low may not be the way to go. So if it's low fat, that means that it has 3 grams of fat or less per serving. But whoever said fat was the bad guy anyway? Nuts, olive oil, these foods could help your heart, help control diabetes, and because they're so decadently delicious, they could actually control your weight because you feel more satisfied when you eat a food that has fat in it. And very often when something is low, it's high in something else. So a low-fat product could be high in sugar, high in salt, high in calories.
All right, the other one that everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, gluten-free. My son's gluten intolerant. We tend to be more gluten-free in our house. But somehow we think it not only gluten-free means healthier and lower in calories, and not necessarily the case.
Not necessarily the case. This is the big craze, right? It's the new diet, people going gluten-free. And I think it's fantastic that there are so many more gluten-free products on the market. However, unless you're gluten intolerant, unless you have celiac disease, it's not necessarily the right pick for you. And just because something lacks in gluten, they may make up for in other areas like sugar or like starches. So you really do need to have a discerning eye. Don't just go along with the trends.
Now, Bonnie, there are some confusing terms out there. You don't quite know what they mean, the difference between them. One of them is reduced sugar versus low sugar. What's the difference there?
Yes, well, sugar's like the master of disguise. It has so many different names. It could be called syrups. It could be called fructose. There are so many different names. Reduced sugar actually has a definition that the product would be 25% less sugar than the original counterpart. Again, that doesn't mean it's not high in fat, high in calories, or that it's even has any health value. Low sugar actually means, get ready for this one, nothing. There is no standard definition for low sugar. Yeah, there's none. There is sugar-free, and sugar-free means that the product has to have half a gram of sugar or less per serving. But if you're sitting down watching TV with a box of cookies that are like that big, then you know that you're not necessarily getting free of sugar. This is where free could be costly.
Oh, wow. No such thing as a free lunch or a free cookie. Now, here's the other one that you see on especially cereal boxes, or whole grain versus multigrain. And you still think, oh, you have grain, I must be doing good.
Exactly. And this one really drives me crazy because they really caught me on this one a few years ago. What you're looking for is a product that's 100% whole grain. 100%, not just whole grain, because if it just says whole grain, it could be 5% or 10%. Also, multigrain means exactly what it says, more than one grain. And that doesn't mean that the grains that are in it are whole grains. So look for this. The Whole Grains Council has this great stamp, this black and gold stamp that you can look for that makes it a little easier to shop for the 100% whole grain products. But that's what you're looking for, because whole grains are better for you.
If they got you, what chance do we have?
Yeah, it's
I
over.
got savvy.
Read the fine print. Lynya, Bonnie, thanks so much. Great to see you both. To find out more about how you can be misled at the grocery store, you can go to today.com. Coming up next, we asked you earlier, is it a myth or fact that the more you sweat, the more calories you burn? We know what Al thinks. Tell us what you think right now on today.com. The answer after these messages.